But what you've described is a traditional, appropriate diplomatic process. You're dealing with someone who is an outsized personality, who likes to call audibles, who thinks he's a better deal maker than any of the pros, who has blindsided his Secretary of State, who has lost face over all of this. You know, so what is the likelihood that they will go into it in this low-key way?
You asked me what I think should happen. You didn't ask me what I thought would happen.
Okay.
So I'm making a distinction between the two.
So what is the risk if
I do think we should approach it the way I described it. It would.
If they don't, and I'm sorry, we have a little bit of a delay there, but if he does approach it as a big personality summit, you've got these two leaders facing off with each other, untested, one, though clearly the North Korean has a strategy. It's not clear that the U.S. has a strategy. What is the downside if there is this big flags waving, red carpet summit, and then no results?
I think it's very risky. It risks the president's credibility, the credibility of the United States, and worse still, I think it increases the risk of conflict. If they go into something with very high expectations, poor preparation, and the president acting in his typically mercurial way, we could end up in a much worse place than we are today. So I do think it's high risk, but I think there are steps we could take if the president were serious and we're willing to recognize that this is not a one-man enterprise in any circumstance, that a negotiation of this significance and complexity requires a team, and a well-oiled team. Now, he may not have the temperament to do that, and, you know, we've seen him on issues ranging from DACA to guns to trade say one thing on a Tuesday and a very different thing on a Thursday, and that's quite worrisome and dangerous when you're dealing with a core issue of our national security with a very unpredictable and unknown leader as an interlocutor. So I do think this is high risk if it's executed in the typical Trumpian fashion. If, however, the president has the presence of mind and the confidence in his team to allow this to be done responsibly and effectively, then I think it's worth attempting, and the downsides can be potentially mitigated.
Susan Rice, former UN ambassador, former national security advisor, thank you so much for joining us today.